So yeah, it's gonna be week 5. This is gonna be going into the next week. So next week we're gonna have basically NFP week, and then we're gonna have a holiday July 4th, a holiday before NFP. I just don't know how the market is gonna move. It's gonna be very, very hectic, I believe, but I just can't be able to identify that. So 2% L today. Very, very bad trade, honestly. Reviewing it now from like the Notion again, I'm going to do my homework, which is going to be giving 3 reasons on how I could have done better for the trades that we have taken this whole week. Again, last week we did the whole month, so now we're just going to do this week. And then of course I'm going to review the videos on the Telegram, like the trade recaps, you know any little minor details that we're missing whenever we're reviewing the trades on the Notion, and then eventually start reviewing that going into next week. That's kind of what I did last week, and of course it worked. You know what I'm saying? We passed the last phase 1 account before the trading week even started. So like on Sunday we reviewed it, and then Saturday we took all the notes, we did our homework, and then eventually Sunday, going into Sunday, we were very, very prepared. And then eventually, throughout the week, of course, I was trying to review it here and there, but if I didn't have time, of course, I didn't do it, and I was just watching the market. And yeah, that's pretty much really it. Usually during the weekends, I review my trades and I review the notes that I have taken throughout, the weekend. And then yeah, that's really it. Going into the week, I usually try to focus as much as possible on the charts, see anything that I'm doing, review my trades. That's really it, honestly. So again, we passed phase 1 here. Some trades I'm not really proud of, so 5% only we really have to win, and I'm just narrowing the risk down to 1% since we are 0.5 up right now on phase 2. And again, the trades weren't really the best in my opinion. If you look at the 15-minute, even the 30-minute, we didn't wait for this confluence here to be tapped into and then eventually respected, and then to go higher and then target this right here. We just didn't wait enough for it, in my opinion. We were stuck on the 1 minute and it just wasn't good at all. This 1 minute confluence was not enough, which was an inversion. I feel like I'm rushing phase 2. I'm trying to rush it. I'm trying to get funded to get a payout, to get the ROI back basically, and I feel like I need to stop. I feel like last phase 2 too, I did the same thing really with my last phase 2. I got really hyped because I passed phase 1, and then phase 2, going into phase 2, I thought I only have to make 5%. I passed and I win. Phase 2 is usually the very, very hardest part. You have to control your patience, your emotions, and all that. I have a bad backstory with phase 2, like I said before, and it just is something that I'm gonna work on, and I'm gonna overcome it basically. And then eventually when I'm funded, I bet the same thing, probably a little bit worse, is gonna happen. Like we're gonna be very, very impulsive, very, very very eager to take a trade and to get the payout. But I'm just gonna try to control myself, be very patient, wait for the super high quality setup, wait for all my confluences to align to take the best trades possible, and to just take the most high quality setups. Of course, that's basically all that happened. So I'm gonna go show you guys the trades for this week, and then we're gonna go over basically everything that happened. So I basically already showed you guys all these trades right here, but I'm gonna show you guys the ones that I took today. So again, I still need to journal a little bit here, and I'm gonna go over basically on my other journal right here, my trading journal, 3 reasons on how I can improve. Again, just because I need to know what I could do better. Even if I'm winning or if I'm losing, it doesn't matter. I just want to know what I could do better next time. That's when you should be focused on how you can improve. When you're winning, when you're losing, of course, doing the same thing. But when you're winning, that's when you should be focused very, very heavy on how you can continue to improve, because you'll never be you'll never be the best best version. You won't ever peak. You will continue to grow and develop if you choose to. If you don't, then of course that's on you. And that's kind of why I'm just never going to be satisfied with my results and with certain trades that I take. And again, on the 4-hour time frame here, we had a 4-hour buy side imbalance. We tapped up into it, and eventually this candle opened up. We were all the way up here. We had a 4-hour balanced price range, a bearish one, and I just didn't wait for the closure of this candle to eventually reach up higher and then close above it. And that's kind of another reason why we should have been more patient. And then on the the daily chart, we had a daily sell side imbalance we were tapping into. We were still holding it, and clearly we're still holding it because this big wick. On the 1-hour time frame, we had a bullish breaker, of course, form, and I thought the market was just leaving me behind. They're leaving me behind. I'm getting FOMO, and just like I need to rush into a trade. I need to catch the move, or else I'm going to be left behind. I'm not going to be able to pass the account today. I'm going to risk 2%. I'm going to hit 1 to 2. I'm going to pass the account. I'm going to get funded. Going into next week, I'm going to be funded. I just need to stop thinking like that. And when I was thinking like that, I was so in tuned with the lower time from like the 1 minute, trying to find a trade to pass the account. But I need to stop. I need to be patient. I need to wait for every single confluence to be in my favor, where I just need to wait for the market to give me those confluences. On the 15-minute time frame, again, we had this buy side imbalance. I entered right around here. Of course, the candle opened, we went up higher. We didn't tap into it, so I didn't even wait for the 15-minute confluence to be hit. And that's very, very bad in my opinion, because I didn't even have a 4-hour or 1-hour confluence, which I need. And that's kind of why this trade just didn't work out in my opinion. I should have been a lot more patient. I should have been waiting, not so eager to enter into the market. And that's kind of what killed me today. Again, on the 1 minute time frame, this is where the 15-minute confluence formed right here. This low was where the 15-minute high was. You can see we went up higher. I thought the market was going to leave me. That's something I need to work on. I just keep thinking that the market is going to leave me. If the market leaves me, it's okay. There's going to be more opportunities that the market will present with higher quality and higher conviction. And again, I shouldn't even have been on the 1 minute time frame if we didn't have the 15-minute time frame, confluence being hit or being tapped up into. I should have just been a lot more patient. Should have been on the higher time frame, like the 15, I shouldn't have not been on the 1 minute here. And that's kind of what, I need to learn and just need to learn how to control myself a little bit more. And yeah, we had the inversion, became bullish to me. And then eventually we had the lower time frame sweep, made this inverse. I entered. I was like, all right, yeah, the market's moving higher right here. I was like, we're going to hit this trade. And then of course the market reversed and it just stopped me out. Of course, my stop loss originally was down here, but the market, with the inverse, sometimes, that's kind of the thing about inversion for rally gaps. You close way too much. You could have waited for the retracement, but again, I just entered as soon as we closed. And of course, the stop loss was a little bit trailed up because again, we're only risking 2%. And, my stop loss down here would have been way too high. The risk to reward would have been way too low. Would have not passed the account. Again, we had a sell side imbalance here. We had the breaker. We never really formed the breaker, and then we never really even tapped up into the sell side imbalance other than right here. But again, just no 15-minute confluence, no 1 hour confluence, no 4 hour confluence. This trade was a very, very low probability trade, and I need to learn how to control myself, and I need to learn how to be more patient in order to wait for the higher quality setups to form. And then for the Dow Jones trade, really the same thing. On the 4 hour time frame, we had a SIBI. We never really closed above it to form, more bullish, price action on the 4 hour. And we were still, we're still inside a daily sell side imbalance, like we just need to be a little bit more patient, when these things are happening, on the 4 hour. On the 1 hour time frame, again, we had the bullish breaker form. We should have been more patient. We should have waited for the market come and retrace, and of course have like a 15-minute or 30-minute fair value gap here. Just be patient, or wait for the 4 hour to close above, the SIBI, make it inverse, go higher, and that's really it. There's no need to rush into these trades. 15-minute time frame, again, we just didn't wait for the 15-minute buy side imbalance to be retraced into and then a look for a trade idea. We just were very, very impatient, just very, very impatient. Usually this usually happens too when I have two fair value gaps. I just don't wait for one to get inverse. I need to be a little bit more patient. Again, just being more patient, being more strategic about what we're looking for and why. And then on the 15-minute time frame, again, these lows right here is what formed the 15-minute high to create the buy side imbalance. We had the inversion form. We entered as soon as we got that closure, and then our stop loss was down here. And of course, I hit the break even right around here. We weren't risking enough, in my opinion. And so that's like, to me, all right, I'm not gonna have the market come and then disrespect this buy side imbalance here and then still maintain the trade. I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut a break even. I'm just gonna leave it, and then I'm gonna go look for a different market to trade because we weren't risking enough. The lot size calculator was all scuffy on Dow Jones, and it still is. I don't know what's wrong with it, but and that's really it. Honestly, I'm gonna do my homework. I'm gonna review this weekend on 3 things I could have done better for all these trades that I've taken this week, and hopefully next week is a lot better. I'm just I need to be more level-headed. I need to be having my emotions under control. I just need to be more patient. All right, this is going to be the update for the funded account update, and today is Wednesday, so we have NFP. This is week 1 NFP. I'm going to go show you guys the economic calendar, so you can see that pretty much here we have today's Wednesday. We have 2 p.m. news, FOMC meeting minutes. I was looking for a trade today, but I just couldn't make myself take one, honestly, because the conviction was there. Every single confluence was there. It's just how the market was delivering. I just didn't like how the 1 minute candles looked. So again, we're up 0.5. No trades. Last trade was again 627, a minus 83, which was Friday, but then Monday we took a break even on USD JPY. Hopefully I did up to you guys about that, and if not, then we can go over it towards the end of the week. But I'm gonna just go over the trade I basically missed today. We had a 4 hour buy side imbalance we were tapping up into, and then we had a 4 hour bearish balance price range, which we made inverse. We're just holding inside of it for a little bit, and then on the 1 hour time frame we did have SMT with ES. So NQ was making lower lows, ES was making higher lows. Of course, this is like all a sweep. And then eventually we formed the breaker, while ES of course formed the order block, mitigation block to be more specific. But yeah, formed the the breaker. Our target was up here, but it's just the delivery wasn't honestly the best, especially on the 1 minute. But on the 15-minute time frame, again, you can see here we had the alert set. We swept one more time, and then eventually we started to move higher. I was looking to take a trade at first, but then I just really couldn't make myself take a trade, especially with how all this right here was delivering. If we were retracing back down, I was gonna look for a sell side imbalance to form, make it inverse, retrace, and then eventually go back up higher. I wasn't strictly going to go enter right here off of the tap of a fair value gap. Nonetheless, you can see we probably would have got stopped out if we did just simply enter off of the fair value gap. That's kind of why I like waiting for a little bit more confirmation. Even if we get like a little bit of a skewed entry, even if the market goes up, we don't form a fair value gap, but we just go up higher, we retrace, then we go up higher even further. To me that's even better in my opinion, because we're not putting our risk where we shouldn't. I'd rather have a couple of a bigger stop loss than of course getting hit, not waiting for strict confirmation. To me, honestly, I feel like it's worthwhile missing these these moves, just because if we don't have strong conviction, I'm not taking it. I'm not going to force anything, and if I do, then of course taking it. But if I lose, reviewing my strategy, reviewing my trades. Right now, I am pretty nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous because I've never really been on phase 2 and past phase phase 2. So I'm trying to be a lot more careful than I usually am, especially on phase 2, because I know, again, it's just a bad backstory, and I feel like that's kind of messing with me mentally right now. But as long as we have good risk management, have good trade management, and then we just look for the highest quality setups, all that matters, honestly. All right, guys, today's Friday. You can see on the bottom right, it's Friday 7:05. Basically, today is the day of NFP, and we only took one trade today, and I'm done. The trade was a hit. I guess we got stopped out. Basically, we got the stop loss. We got stopped out NQ and YM as confluence to exit the trade, mainly NQ and YM, but we traded on ES today. See, we're up basically back at like near 1.5, and yeah, we're back like at 1.5%. We're close to 2% like we were, starting the account. I'm gonna be risking 1% until I hit a 2% buffer or more to risk 2%. On Monday, again, we took our break even on USD JPY here. It's a small break even. Again, today I did learn about the being patient and waiting for my BPR to be hit, but it never really happened on NQ. But on ES, we're close to tapping it, so I just entered, and if we tap back into it a little bit more, then I'm just showing you guys the trade. But yeah, just small 1%, little near 1% win, I guess you can say. And so again, this was the USD JPY trade. We took it on the 4-hour time frame. We had no internal resistance targets. So the thing about the USD JPY trade is when the market's moving like this, we don't really have any internal resistance targets. But again, I failed to mark this out, which was a 4-hour breaker that formed since we swept this low. We close above here. That's a 4-hour breaker. What do we use? Standard deviations, and eventually we went up higher. So again, that could have been our confluence. The breaker forming the standard deviations. As soon as we close, we retrace back and we go higher. That is tapping into a 4-hour bullish breaker here, but we had the internal resistance on the daily, but we had no external resistance targets. That's kind of why it's important to use a breaker and standard deviations to know where you are likely to have a retracement or a reversal, tapping into those certain levels. And then on the 1-hour time frame, we did have internal resistance, which was a buy side liquidity. The 4-hour, it was more of like a 1-hour high, which again was a breaker. And yeah, we just had that, and then we had the 1-hour order block, internal resistance, a bullish order block, or if you want to call it a mitigation block, you can. And then on the 15-minute time frame, we had a 15-minute buy side imbalance being respected, and again sweeping the lows, just retracing back into this deeper discount. And then on the 1-minute time frame, so again, this is kind of what I've learned throughout this whole week, or just through this trade in general, going into today. Whenever we have an inversion and a BPR, we want to wait for the inversion to close and then retrace into the BPR to get a better entry. But if we don't get that and we close above, then of course not chasing price, but waiting for a better, like a decent entry. If we don't retrace into the BPR, waiting for like the inversion to be tapped up into one more time, or if we get a close, if we get a close above like a breaker or an order block, waiting for the inversion to be tapped up into, and then looking for of course an entry here. But again, since we didn't close above here and we closed above the inversion and we formed BPR, then when we retrace, that could have been an entry there. So again, just finding a better entry here, like this would have been the perfect entry. As soon as we close above, moving the stops to break even, and then eventually you can see we retrace into this first buy side imbalance, or this main buy side imbalance here. Then we had another BPR, and then we went up higher. But yeah, nonetheless, that's kind of what I've learned here through this break-even trade. So again, I'm still not fully done journaling, but on the 4-hour time frame, we had our buy side imbalance on the 4-hour time frame, and we were just respecting it. The market is chopping back and forth after especially big moves on ES and YM. This usually happens since we are breaking all-time highs, and we're just having that strong movement. And this was during Wednesday. You can see their third, all this movement was during Wednesday, and I did not expect that at all. I could have capitalized upon it, I should say, but I just didn't, because I didn't have enough conviction, and that's totally normal in my opinion, especially on NQ. But ES, I was kind of like, all right, this could move higher, and I can see it moving higher. But on YM, not really though. So today, again, we had our 1-hour external resistance being broken through and becoming a market structure shift as soon as we close here. But we were entering during this candle, during that time window too. And then we had our 1-hour bullish inversion, fair value gap, internal resistance, again being respected, holding, even though the wicks were doing the damage, holding the 4-hour buy side imbalance, all the way into like the deeper side of the premium, not even coming back down to a discount, or the internal resistance on the daily, the buy side imbalance, strong delivery to the upside and showing strong bullishness. NQ again, just showing strong bullishness. And I was favoring NQ, but we just couldn't find our perfect entry, which again is just never going to happen, honestly. And that's kind of why I took this trade. I really kind of forced it, but I wasn't going to miss a move, and I feel like I did kind of force it. I did kind of get a little bit impulsive, but it happens. On the 15-minute time frame, again, it just looks very sloppy, that's kind of why I closed the trade. We're just very sloppy, very back and forth, big wicks. We're not really moving. The day after a holiday, the liquidity is not really too favorable. The market isn't really moving with clean order flow. So yeah, that's kind of why we had to cut it. But we had a 15-minute internal resistance order block. We closed above, we retraced into it, and went up higher, targeting the external resistance high up there. And then on the 3-minute time frame, we had an inversion form, and then eventually we made it a balanced price range. So we swept these lows down here, we went higher, we formed a breaker here, and then yeah, we were kind of using standard deviations. We used more of a mitigation block since from this high to this low, but yeah, you could have used this breaker low right here from this high to this low, and you could have went and targeted higher prices, but it just didn't respect it, and that's kind of why. And we got stopped out right here, and the main reason why I got stopped out right there is because NQ was breaking this high, YM was moving lower, and ES basically is the middleman. So when the middleman is not really favoring one side of a direction, I usually like moving my stop loss to break even or in profit, or I just like closing the trade whenever we're moving lower, because YM is going to move lower and NQ is going to move higher. ES is just going to chop around like it is right here. You're going to chop around, move back and forth until one of them, or until both of them move in correlation, which it kind of did happen later on. But yeah, we had a three minute balance price range form. We didn't get the retest, which I wanted to. Same thing with what NQ, but NQ was a little bit different. NQ had this right here form. We had an inversion form, and then we had a BPR form, and we never retraced into the BPR. We were very, very close, but we just respected the inversion, and we respected the breaker, and we went up higher. I was looking for this to be, right here, tapped up into this right here. I was like, all right, the USD JPY did this. I'm gonna wait for it to come and hit this right here. I'm gonna have my stop down here, and I'm gonna target the 2 to 2.5, clear 1 to 4, and we're gonna hit it. But it just never came back down and never retraced. And in my opinion, the inversion fair value gap entry would have been just as good. In my opinion, we would have gotten our nice entry. We're on phase 2 again. I'm just not really my mindset, I'm still a little bit nervous, but it's like the same, trading the same, risking the same, doing the same thing as we did on phase 1, just reviewing my mistakes, learning and trying to improve every single day. I'm on monk mode right now, of course, so I'm doing my monk mode task, just getting better every single day and like improving myself overall. We're able to perform better. We have some more high quality setups forming and better trades, and that's really it. Honestly, controlling the risk. I'm gonna review my mistakes this weekend. I'm gonna go do my trading homework, and that's really it. Honestly, there's nothing more I could have asked for. I'm gonna review the trades for this week. I'm gonna go chart this Sunday and do the commentary, and that's really it. Honestly, hopefully next week is better. That's all I'm asking. Try to see what I can refine in my system, try to collect some more data, more insights, more side notes, and that's really it. Honestly, when I'm reviewing, I'll update you guys next week. So yeah, peace.